Welcome to the second installment of the Cipher LockDown Live, brought to you by the UK's #1 conscious platform, Got Kush TV. This is the Cipher, the home of conscious conversation. Today we have Kevlar, King Wiz, and Shakara joining us today. Our sisters Naledi and Tanisha are not here today, but we have our beautiful King Shaks coming to the conversation. We've got plenty of things to talk about today, so let's roll on. So how's everyone feeling today? It's been a good couple of weeks since we linked up on here.
Yeah, I'm feeling good. It's very, very hot, so I'm just enjoying the weather and that. But yeah, just enjoying my time.
Oh, even the breeze is hot, innit?
Yeah, trust me.
Trust me. Right, but you know what? Yeah, before we go any further, yeah, can we just say happy belated birthday to Yemaya and that? Right, you know what I'm saying? Like, if I had my job, I'd bring and beat you really, man. Sing happy birthday and everything there.
Happy birthday.
Thank you. Yeah, so I give thanks for another year, another blessing. So, you know, all the opportunities that come my way, I hope that I'll be prepared to fully embrace them all.
Yes.
So, yeah.
It's a big mark as well. 33.
What are you betting at my age for, Kevlar?
I couldn't do that. You go on social media. I'm saying 33 is an important number. You know, that's the
I know.
Age of enlightenment.
33 in 2020. The numerology is amazing. Like, and I actually wanted to do my naming ceremony today.
Your what ceremony?
Not today. Sorry. I wanted to have a naming ceremony for myself this year for my birthday, because obviously the numerology was so like good, isn't it? But you know, COVID-19 had other plans. You know, God had other plans, so just you got to roll with how it goes. You get me?
Yeah, you got to.
Yeah. So we last saw each other at the Reparations March. You know, the other day, which was a nice vibe. We were all there, apart from Tanisha, which is nice. You know. All your biggest takeaways from the day?
I mean, I got to speak to a couple of elders, so it was quite nice just to, touch base with them. I got to see a lot of people that I had seen on Instagram but never met in person, so that was quite nice as well. But more so for me was just seeing how organized Forever Family were. I like how they came through. And it was just nice seeing the unity, especially because of COVID-19 and everyone just being locked down at home. I kind of forgot that things like that still existed, and that the people were still connected and still very much aware of what was going on and social issues like that. So it was nice for me.
It was a beautiful day, man. It was a family day. It was a day for Black politics and a representation of our message in a great way. Shaks, would you like to tell us a little bit more, the audience, a little bit more about what the Reparations March stands for, and a little bit about Forever Family?
So I can tell you more about the Reparations March than Forever Family, to be honest with you. But when it comes to the march here, all right. So it's got a very long history, to be honest. Yeah, because man could go back to all 2002. You know what I'm saying? When a lot of the activists from this country went to Barbados for a conference called the International Conference of Africans and Peoples of African Descent, or Conference Against Racism, Xenophobia, and something else, some other stuff. Yeah. When they came back from that, there was an agreement to basically have a rally. Yeah. Every Messiah near like the birthday of Marcus Garvey, and so that became like a reparations kind of rally, like Marcus Garvey rally type thing, and it became quite a thing. But that kind of died down. But then in 2014, the Rastafari movement UK wanted to hold this march for reparations, and they gathered a lot of organizations for that. And so that was in 2014. That was the first one. And ever since then, after that, you know, there was some friction, but out of that, the Emancipation Day Reparations March Committee was formed along with the Stop the Ma'anga Music campaign, and they've been holding the march ever since. But this year, they wanted to hold what's called the groundings, yeah? And they got that word from a book written by Walter Rodney, yeah, called Groundings with My Brethren, for when he was teaching in Jamaica. And they had another title, which is the Reparations Rebellion. So they wanted to go beyond March and engage in civil disobedience, they said. Yeah? So that was the whole point of locking down Brixton and them kind of things there, which I think to some degree, but probably not on the magnitude that they wanted to. But I think that there's a combination of promotion and as well as the COVID-19 situation affected the numbers, although there was still a lot of people there like throughout the day. You know what I'm saying? But if you're trying to lock down 9 roads in Brixton, you know, there's a certain level of of people that you're going to need. But yeah, I enjoyed the day. You know what I'm saying? It was a nice day. The sun was shining. And what was clear to me is that there were a lot of people, even that I know personally, that have not come to the march like in previous years, and even though they know about it, but they just came to support. You know what I'm saying? And I think that was a good thing. You know, so yeah, I appreciate it.
Yeah, it was nice. It was different from the previous years because you know, normally we'd meet in Brixton and we'll march. Is it to Parliament Square? And it would be a little bit like a bit like carnival vibe. There'll be floats, there'll be people, there'll processions, there'll be a full Nation of Islam security turnout, and it'll just be good vibes. But like the last one, the one that's recently gone, was just as beautiful and just as amazing, and it kind of brought that carnival vibe back. You know, it was just like music, food, stalls, no trouble, families out, just solidarity, and it was so beautiful. And I just wanted to like let the viewers know as well, like for those who are not aware of what the sorry, I've really struggled saying this word. Say it, Chakara.
Maanganizi.
I really struggle with this word.
Swahili,
but it's basically
the Swahili.
Say that again.
It's
so hard. And I've only had 3 hours sleep, so my brain is not up to scratch right now, people. So Maanganizi, whatever you call it, yeah, is basically the African Holocaust. It's, you know, and it was, who was it created by? Who coined that word? I know that Arthur was one word that was used, but it means something slightly different. So they opted for the Maanganizi instead, because it kind of summed up more accurately what happened to our people better than the Ma'afa. So is there anything you want to add to that background, that backstory, just for the viewers to have an understanding of what it means and why, you know, it's basically a marching for reparations for the African Holocaust. Is there anything you want to add at all?
The terminology, so the inspiration firstly comes from Mama Marimba Ani, who basically said that we need to use words in our own languages to define our own and describe periods in our own history. And so she begins by talking about the Ma'afa, in the same way that the Jewish community have the word Holocaust, and when you hear Holocaust, it relates specifically to them. Yeah. And if you say the Holocaust, you know that what people are referring to exactly and specifically. And so in the 90s and the 80s, a lot of our people were using the term Black Holocaust. Yeah. And she was saying, well, we can go beyond that because we have words and terms in our own languages that will speak to the reality of these things. Yeah.
It also faced criticism. Using the term Black Holocaust would face criticism from the Jewish community as well, which is part of the reason why I was like, well, we can use our own words.
Basically.
Is that correct?
Yeah. Definitely. Yeah. Some people consider it anti-Semitic to use the term Holocaust for anything other than, you know, what the Jews experience. So, but her question, that just for the sake of our own definition and specificity, and thinking, using our own languages to think in African ways, yeah. So, what was I saying? Where was I? Yeah. So basically, the term Ma'afa, it in Swahili means great disaster, and that was a term that first used. And people still use that term. I still generally use that term because I'm a Mama Marimba kind of guy. But I believe it was Maulana Karenga, the person who created Kwanzaa, who, you know, studying the Swahili language a bit more, said Maangamizi Ma'afa could be like any great disaster. So it could be like an earthquake or, you know, a volcano. Whereas Ma'anga describes the intentionality behind it, like somebody else or a group of people that people else. So okay, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's the reasoning behind it still, you know?
Okay. Yeah, and I think what also made this particular march special this year of 2020 was the formation of Forever Family.
Yeah.
And why they were formed and how wonderfully organized and disciplined and powerful their presence were that day. I just think that another march can't go on without them, and they need to be a permanent staple with the march. You know, like there used to be the NOY there as security. I feel like Forever Family, they just show up every year because I feel that touched my heart with so much pride. So much pride. So King Wiz, I don't know if you just come back with us. Are you still there?
He seems
no.
Good.
Dropped off.
Yeah. So Forever Family, from what I know, they formed as a result of what was called the Battle of Trafalgar, which was one of the earlier Black Lives Matter protests, or one of the protests that happened earlier in the year, where the EDL turned up and tried to attack some of the peaceful protesters. And it was at that point some of the brothers and sisters that were there was like, it's about making sure that we keep each other safe, we've got each other's back, and decided to put together something that was organized, disciplined, and certified to protect the community when they're protesting from racist right-wing attacks, essentially. Is that fair to say? Am I correct with that?
Yeah, basically, I was there during the Battle of Trafalgar, and it was a lot. Do you know what I'm saying? And I think some of the criticism coming out of it was that, you know, we could have been a bit more organized in terms of how we respond, because the man that are coming after us seem to be, you know, organized at least to some degree. And yeah, respect to respect to Mega for organizing and coming together in that kind of way, and that was their first. Do you know what I'm saying? And despite, you know, what we're seeing in the media right now, we have to respect that kind of discipline and formation, and really and truly,
100%.
That's why you're seeing the reaction, because they're seeing organization on levels that they don't normally see it. Do you know what I'm saying?
And this is what I don't get. It's like, how can you criticize a peaceful protest where there was no trouble from Forever Family? They were organized, they were disciplined, they kept public order, they actually helped reinforce and enforce public order. And if you want to do your research, check out their mission statement. Their values and their ethos are top notch. So I don't understand why these media are trying to make it seem like something you should be afraid of. That really irritates me. I just don't get it. Well, I do get it. It's bait why they're trying to do that, but it's just stupid in my opinion.
Go on, Kevin. I'll talk after you still.
No, it's yeah, most definitely. Like if you look at their mission statement, they're all about mobilizing the community and organizing and you know, creating initiatives so that our community can actually get together and have a place where we can actually discuss these things and prepare for any other events that might, you know, harm the community. So Forever Family, they're all about, you know, supporting Black people. And I find it funny how whenever Black people finally organize and get something going, the media are always going to try and corrupt it and always going to try to twist the story. And, you know, just the wording that the BBC and other news media sources used to describe Forever Family, man, it's appalling. Because I was there and I saw the demonstration, you know, it was all peaceful, you know, so I don't understand how they can have the right to do that and then you know, for them not to receive any backlash. That's crazy to me.
And for me, I feel like that's anti-Black rhetoric. I feel like that there needs to be more accountability for media companies and individuals like this lady. What was her name? Julia something.
Brewer, Julia Brewer.
Julia Brewer.
Yeah.
This lady, like, she seemed to be hell-bent on using inflammatory, negative, and incorrect, biased language to talk about the reparations movement. And at the end of the day, you're perpetuating narratives that are harmful to my people. And I feel like this should be held. There should be more accountability for that kind of speech, that's kind of talk in the media. There was another video that I saw of a police chief saying some very offensive things about the African Caribbean community. Again, it needs to be challenged and it needs to be stopped because it's harmful. And at the end of the day, Julia, if you don't understand the reparations movement, have a conversation with somebody who does. Do your research. She was talking about I was never a slave owner, you were never slaves. But just in 2015, the other day, me and my mum and my grandma just finished paying the taxman back for the reparations they're paying for the slave owners. And you're trying to tell me that I'm not affected. You're trying to tell me that slavery and the narratives and the structural stuff that's happened as a result of it that still exists today is not impacting me today. Are you being serious? That's an insult.
Who is she? Like, I don't even know who she is. Who is she? I
think she's some broadcaster.
Okay,
I can't ever remember what the channel was that she was speaking on. But thankfully, the man that she was interviewing was very objective and very balanced, and he kept correcting her and saying, actually, no, it was peaceful. Actually, no, it was.
He just said.
Positive. He was a lot more. He was a lot more balanced and objective. And even though he didn't agree with the reparations movement, he did state clearly that he doesn't agree with the call for reparations. However, he was able to be objective and balanced in his viewpoints on what happened at the reparations march at the very least. And I feel like it should be challenged a lot more seriously, just like the Jewish community challenged Wiley for what they felt was anti-Semitic views. Any anti-Black rhetoric that happens to anything that we do in honor of ourselves or our ancestors should be challenged, and it should be allowed, especially because race relations are so sensitive, and there's evidence that it's being impacted, and it's structural and it's embedded in society now. And it's these conversations that these people like Julia Brewer are having that are reinforcing it and causing more damage than goods, more harm than goods. You know, that's my view anyway.
Can you just repeat that part about the tax money that you're saying was still going to reparations to that part?
So when slavery was abolished, the slave owners were given reparations or given, they were reimbursed for their loss of property.
Yeah, I heard about 3,000 families, slave owners were given reparations, which would amount to, I think, about 16 billion. In today's money,
it could have even been more of them because it's not just the English ones. It was scattered all over the new world. So obviously the British government, the Treasury, had to put that bill, and as a result, that was accounted for in taxes, and people were paying that back in tax money up until 2015. That means the money that I worked for and was being taxed on was going towards that, repaying that debt. So how can you come and tell me that I'm not being impacted by slavery, that my parents and grandparents are not being impacted by slavery, when we were paying for our own, paying the slave masters for their own, you know what I mean? It's just ridiculous. How can you tell me that we're not being affected by slavery when Stephen Lawrence get murdered and his killers are still free and not having the police that covered it up are still out there somewhere? And there's a whole report called the McPherson's report that gives evidence that there's institutional racism within the police structure, which resulted in the fact that he not only was killed by racist people, that his murder was covered up and his case was sabotaged. You try to tell me that came out of nowhere, that Black people are being, oppressed for no reason till this day? Come on, love. That willful ignorance is not acceptable with so much information at your fingertips. You know what I mean?
Julia Brewer made a totally unqualified statement, and not just unqualified, but just very disrespectful. Because even David Cameron's ancestors was getting paid off from all of this, and he was former prime minister. So the leaders of this country, they're getting a payout. So why is it that our community, who were affected the most by this, aren't getting any reparations? So
exactly.
It's a very tough,
and obviously David Cameron wouldn't have been afforded the privileges he got had his forefathers not been paid out all that money to be rich slave owners. I mean, rich slave owners, and then they got compensation. Do you know what I mean? Not reparations. They got compensation, and obviously that benefited David Cameron for him to be from a wealthy family, for him to go to the best schools and become prime minister. So you're trying, he himself wasn't a slave master or slave owner, but he's still benefiting from it, just like we today are still, you know, suffering from the legacy of it too in various institutional and structural ways. It's evidence based. I'm not just making these things up. So you can't just sit there because you don't agree with something and talk nonsense, in my opinion. Have a conversation. If you don't understand it, fair enough. If you don't agree with it, that's fair enough. But then have a conversation, have some dialogue and find out more about what the premise for people who, the premise and the basis of why people are marching and asking for it. You know? That's just my view for Julia anyway. And people that think like her and who feel that they can take a platform and say or talk about things like this in a harmful tone, because it's not just what she said, it's the tones that she used. And if people are going to be, another thing that bothers me, I'm having a bit of a rant today, people, so apologies. But another thing that bothers me is selective outrage. Yeah. So you want to have, you know, you want to be up in arms about Wiley's saying X, Y, and having not just what he said, but the tone and the energy and the venom and the vim in which he talked about Jewish people. We got people like Julia Brewer who can use such a dismissive and harmful tone to a movement that is years in the making, that people put their blood, sweat, and tears into and are fighting for every day. You're gonna come on your microphone and use a tone to tear it down, like, and you think it's okay, and you have a platform, you're allowed to do that with no consequence. It's not okay. It's not, and I think we need to call it out more, just like with the BBC and the woman who used the N-words. Let's not have selective outrage in it. You know, anti-black rhetoric, anti-Semitism, all of it has to stop in it. You know, you can't be mad at one thing and not mad at the other. My people's been through stuff too, and we're still being affected by it today as well.
In my opinion, the outrage with regards to Forever Family, because they haven't done anything, like in the sense of the fact that all that's being responded to right about now is the fact that they turned up at the reparations march and did 2 drills. That's it. Yeah, there's nothing else that they've done. Uniforms. Yeah, that's it. They're not involved in anything else, right? So what happened was, and one thing that you have to also respect is, you see the right wing here, globally, the white people, them that are like on the right of politics, yeah, they're very organized in terms of propaganda warfare, right? Because the day it happened, Nigel Farage put out a tweet, and all of them have been repeating, you know, the same narrative ever since then. So what they're trying to do is create a justification for the police to target the machinery of the states, yeah, against these people. So they've got this Public Order Act of 1936, I believe it is, yeah, which is what we're referencing here, which you're not allowed to wear military political uniforms, which they weren't. Now we was there, man, they were wearing jeans and crepes, yeah. You know what I'm saying? But it was just black, and they had obviously the vest, yeah, which I don't know if that's considered military, like technically speaking or not. You know what I'm saying? But I'm saying that because Forever Family is a company, and they're dealing with security, so they're legitimately allowed to protect themselves, which is where and
security companies wear uniforms. So hey, they can try and bring out any dead old, what's it called, old law, you know, and try to talk nonsense just to try and suppress and stifle the movement. But it's not gonna. We're not gonna let that happen. I'm sorry. But archaic law.
When you identify a law, though, yeah, what you're trying to do is create a scenario in which the police are able to target them, right? But the funny thing is that the law that he mentioned, the only people in recent years that have been targeted with that thing are white right-wing groups like Britain First. Yeah, 2 of their leading members were arrested and charged with like some minor money, like £50 or something like that, for wearing like some insignia on a march somewhere. Yeah, and so it's a tit for tat they're trying to play. They're trying to say, well, if you did something where these people are concerned, well, you got to do it where these people are concerned, that's what they're trying to do, whilst attaching them to Black Lives Matter, which Forever Family ain't got nothing to do with Black Lives Matter as an organization, but they've developed this whole Black Lives Matter narrative, you know what I'm saying, and everything that happens in the black community now is Black Lives Matter, right? You see what I'm saying?
Activism never existed before that.
You see what I'm saying? Like, it's bad. It's bad how they're going on, but yeah, it's bad. You know,
we can see through it. We can see through it, and I'm sure everybody else can too.
Yeah, like, you get me. By the way, I don't think Emma y'all can see the comments. So I want to move out the chat here quickly. If I can. You can't see it, can you, Emma?
No.
No problem. Yeah. So move out the chat.
If I could, I was on my rant, so I wasn't even reading. I was like,
it's all good.
on my rant.
can watch it still. But yeah, we got Langelo, Western Goddess, Aranisa. Yeah, Aranisa and everything there. But yeah, we got yourselves. And share the link, family. Like out the video and all these things. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Yeah, like, but yeah, it's very interesting. Have you not read this? The last Daily Mail hit piece though?
No, tell us more.
So they done this whole investigation, right? Supposedly of Forever Family and its leader, Kari McKenzie, aka Raspic. Yeah, yeah. So it's a very interesting piece of article. But I know.
Oh, is it the one you're talking about? Where it's called? Or who are this secretive group called? Blah blah. Is that the headline?
No.
Is it that one? Is there another one?
No, there's another. Actually, is it? I've got it up now. So this is there is another one still. So the Daily Mail has been on this thing ever since like the first of Messiah.
And they've been so bipolar with it as well. 1 minute they've done a really well-researched article, then there's another one that's like very negative, and then there's another one that's quite bad. I'm just like, man, like what are you saying? Like, what are you really thinking right now? It's a bit confusing.
They have to present the illusion of fair and balance, doesn't it? But yeah, there's some serious hit pieces here, though, man. It's mad. You get me? King Wisdom.
So what are they saying? Share some.
All right. So this is the one that one of them that you lot was had brought up here. Who are Forever Family? The secretive British protest group with uniforms, body armor, walkie-talkies, and military-style drills who resemble the Black Panther movement in battle against racism. Yeah, like, and that's the headline. You know, have you ever seen a headline so long?
I was just about to say it's the longest headline I've ever heard.
Like that is the headline. But I love the imagery here though, because it says the secretive British protest group with uniforms, body armor, walkie-talkies, military-style drills, and Black Panther. All of those terminologies say organization. That's all that means. Yeah.
They didn't say that they got Instagram, or they didn't say they got a page where you can just click on Forever Family. How secretive are they though?
Yeah. Real talk.
And they got their mission statement that they were flying at the protest. They got their mission statement there for you to see. Ain't no secret. They wouldn't ask you a question. Means they're secretive. Nah, just allow it, please. Allow it. Just leave it. Yeah, leave it alone.
So this is one of the articles actually. Yeah, but they're targeting Ras with the anti-Semitism talk as well. Do you know what I'm saying? But yeah, that's another subject. But the whole point, I'll read like the first paragraph or something.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. Once they try to target Ras.
Yeah, because basically the article says that he posed because he had posted some Instagram posts against the state of Israel. So they're saying that's anti-Semitism, basically.
I see.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, it says wearing what appear to be stab vests with paramilitary-style black uniforms, demonstrators marched through London yesterday demanding Britain make amends for generations of African slavery. The peaceful protest saw a number of small action groups come together to bring Brixton to a standstill, but it was the little-known Forever Family group that made the most striking impact. The organization, whose social media accounts are mostly set to private, aims to centralize community groups in a bid to support like-minded organizations. A promotional video shared by the group, whose members resemble the Black Panther revolutionary activists of the 60s in yesterday's protest, states that they are, should like that make sense, are united in the battle against racism, inequality, and injustice. At least one marcher wore a balaclava, while others carried black flags and walkie-talkies. And you know what's funny about that line is? Like that on the march here, they were supposed to be practicing social distancing and those protocols. So they were supposed to come in some way, shape, or form, like whether it's mask or, you know what I'm saying? That was part of the thing. Yeah, not everybody did it, but on the march, I mean, on the day, but you know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, it is unclear how the group are funded, but they have been described as a black-owned business that accepts donations from the public. Their company values are listed as integrity, transparency, accountability, suggesting that they have a business or military approach to their work, and these kinds of things. Yeah, so there's more. Yeah, But like you can see, it's developed as a proper investigative piece. Like they've done some deep research. This is off one march, yeah, and 1-2 drill in Brixton on one day.
And that's what I was saying as well. Like there's one that I read that was very well researched. They even went into the history of the Reparations March and all those things as well. It's like, okay, like if you go to, because normally what I'm used to is they're talking about these things and they just very lazy. They're getting things wrong. They're calling it Black Lives Matter instead of what it really is, and they're getting the facts of this stuff. I'm thinking, okay, this has got it's gone through the history. I'm reading stuff and I'm not disagreeing with what I'm reading. Fair enough, you know, well researched piece. I give it to you. I didn't expect that. So you know what I mean. So I can tell that they're very, very whoever is in the Daily Mail is on this thing. Like they're invested in researching for a family. Like, what's the motive? What's the motivation behind it? I don't know.
Yeah.
King Wiz, you're back. Can you hear us?
The signal's very bad for me if you can hear me, man. It's upsetting. Yep. It's a good debate. I'm catching parts though. I'm catching pieces. I'm chipping in there 2 pence when I can.
So does anyone know how long Forever Family's actually about?
Say that again.
What Jacka was here. Like
whatever. Not their parents.
No, I can't hear King
Oh,
Wiz.
we're losing King Wiz, you know, we're losing him. What did you ask him, Kevlar?
I know you wanted to play a couple of these videos, isn't it? So let me know when you're ready.
Ooh, sorry.
Yeah, man, go through it. Go ahead.
I'm kind of delayed.
Oh. King Wiz is back. King Wiz, you're dropping in and out, you know. All right, the Cipher family. We're going to show you some clips of some of the news videos and articles that we've been discussing today. So have a look and see what you think of some of these narratives. This is the Lady Julia that I was talking about.
Miss Julia. Grandparents.
Okay, you don't hear it,
yeah? And none of the people watching and people like me.
Can you not hear that, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We'll drop it now.
Okay, whatever place. Not their parents, their grandparents, their great-grandparents. And none of the people watching and people like me discussing this were slave owners either. I'm not a slave owner. My family weren't slave owners. The vast majority of people in this country who are white, their families weren't slave owners. Something like 2% of the country benefited from being slave owners. I'm not quite sure why the argument for reparations should be coming up now.
No, that's right. I mean, I don't want to get too much into the politics of it. I'm more interested in the policing of it. I think one point, yes, there was a lot of talk of reparations. But one point I would like to make about Saturday, I went down to have a look because I write about these things. And yes, that sort of protest with them in uniform did stand out. But having said that, there was almost a complete absence of tension Saturday, between all those protesting and the police. There was quite a substantial police presence. And yet everyone seemed to get on quite well. I was expecting, after what we'd seen over previous weeks, there to be abuse hurled at police officers. There were quite a lot of black police officers on show, or I say on show, on duty. And I expected them to get a lot of stick, which they have been getting.
Well, I mean, some of the...
But there was none of it.
Well, maybe because there was no aggro, because despite extraordinary provocation, police officers stayed I think admirably calm, but I don't know how they do it, and I don't know why they're expected to do it.
Now, can I pause that there, yeah?
This point peed me off a lot. But anyway, go on. Yeah, I mean, a couple of things that... I'm sorry to cut you, yeah. A couple of things that was really getting on my ninnies, yeah, is like the fact that he said there were black police officers on show. That I mean, he said that subconsciously. It was like a Freudian slip. It's like he's even saying like these are token black officers for the Black March as a black face for the protesters. And then this woman now, she seems to be just trying to make it out like there was some problem, you know, extraordinary, you know, and all these words. And there was no problems at all. Like, if anything, there was a minimal arrest, a minimal disruption. And yet she's trying to paint it out as if no, it was something more than that. And so no wonder this man is like, oh, I'm surprised there wasn't anything, because that's what you expect. You come to expect because of people like her in the media.
I saw one of the former leaders of Britain First. I think her name is Jada Franson. I saw a video where she was saying that Forever Family were hurling abuse at the police. So that's probably where she's coming from. But obviously we were there in it. That never happened. Like that's an absolute fabrication. Total fabrication. I don't think this woman was there either. So I don't know where she's getting her news from. But that has never happened. Yeah, nobody heard any abuse at the police at any point. It just never happened.
And there was a news report that sort of one woman, apparently, for all we know, she could have had mental health issues. But there was one report, this one woman who was arguing with the police. This one woman, and that was
See that woman?
I didn't see it myself.
You see that woman?
Yeah.
Man was there on the day. Yeah, it's funny how powers work. Someone came to me specifically. I was standing right next to Mega, and he said to me, "Wiz, there's this girl here, and I think she's instigating problems. She was nothing to do with Forever Family. She was nothing to do with Got Kush, none of the people them. She was of her own volition. You get me? She come there with her own mind. She wasn't in the formation, anything. And she's got this black vest on, but it doesn't say Forever Family. And she's there causing problems. And it's funny that nobody in the Forever Family stepped out of formation. But that's like you go into a military demonstration just up in a full military outfit, go cause a problem, and you're saying, well, the military formation caused that problem. How was that?
Was she the one who confronted the police?
Say that again?
Was she the one who confronted the police?
That was the same girl.
Apparently.
The same girl I saw that day. Bro, I met her, the guy and his wife. They was in full African robes. They came to me in spirit. They said to me, they pointed her out to me. They said, you see that one? Be careful of her. And I said, all right, cool. I went to Ras and I said to him, bro, listen. You see that one? Someone just told me XYZ. By the end of the day, she's the one who's on the post. No one can't tell me nothing. That's foolishness. That's foolishness.
See that?
And she doesn't represent the whole movement.
But those are the kind of things that the media people like this woman Julia will pitch onto like shit fly, like fly on shit, to portray the whole movement in a negative light, to perpetuate that narrative, so that they can enforce these laws and regulations, so that we can't do what we need to do.
You know what?
I'm not just making that up.
I would take it as a compliment. Yeah, you see, when they see organized black people, they're supposed to be scared, fam. Yeah, they're supposed to be scared. Like they're supposed to get visions of Nat Turner and George in their sleep and everything. No, I encourage that kind of reaction, because what it is, right? Again, like I said, they're trying to drum up the machinery in the state against the man, yeah. But for me, they're not, because they're used to projecting gangsterism images of black people, yeah? So when they see organized kind of formations of community development among us, they don't know how to react, yeah?
They malfunction.
Right, you know what I'm saying, right? You know what I'm saying, right? To some degree, but then there are those of them who do know how to react. And so their job is to organize the
propaganda.
Of the
propaganda machine.
And that's all this woman is doing. So they'll lie through their teeth. Yeah, they'll fabricate storylines and them kind of things, because that's their job. You know what I'm saying? And it's all because they have to squash the smallest sign of organization. That's it.
Yeah. And Shakara isn't being delusional. He's not fabricating
and they're associated with madness.
Operation COINTELPRO. Operation COINTELPRO is an example of historical tactics used by the FBI to do these kind of things, to disrupt any kind of movement like this. And it could be in the most unethical ways. Sorry, King Wiz, go on. King Wiz, you there? Chats, you there?
Yeah, man's here.
Yeah, anything else you want to add? I think we lost King Wiz. I know he's trying to chime in, but I don't know what happened to him.
He's there, but he's got a delay.
Okay.
My thing's a bit delayed, if you can hear me. It's delayed, so I might hear you a little bit later, a couple seconds later.
We're not complaining about big up the long name Empress Returns. We're not complaining about these. We're pointing out a pattern of tactics by news people that are like her.
All right, hold on. See this TWZ 13 Empress turns. Listen, nothing to do with Soros, yeah? Don't go and research who is organizing what before you make statements that are backed by nothing but superstition and speculation. Allow it. We don't entertain that. We're not complaining. We're highlighting a reaction. It's like chess. We've made a move, and now a reactive move has been played. Now, you'd be an idiot to ignore the active move when you're analyzing what you're going to do in your next move. Because what they're doing is something, and we need to then choose, is that something that we need to react to, or is it something that we can overlook or ignore? But if you don't analyze thyself and thy opponent, we're not the ones oppressing ourselves.
100%. I'll let you to add anything to that. King Wiz just summed it up.
Should I play some more of this video?
The same way.
Yeah, man. Continue, Shax.
Seen some videos, again, don't verify they were videos from Saturday, because again, you have to be very important you check these things and don't jump to conclusions. And we've quite lengthy videos of women objecting to one man being questioned by the police, possibly arrested, and just abusing, shouting, racist, shouting terrorists, shouting fascists in the face of police officers, right in their faces. I'm sorry. But since when did that become acceptable? Because if I went up to a police officer and spoke to a police officer like that, I would expect to be arrested.
Yeah, I mean, I saw that on that, and the lady is quite well known in terms of social media.
She's no lady.
No, that point was made, and she was filmed a couple of weeks ago at some sort of debate threatening a black guy, strangely enough, asking him to come outside so she could kill him.
Who is this woman?
I don't even know what they're talking about.
Right. All right. Cool.
A good idea. But that was, let me stress to you, that was isolated. Generally speaking, the relations between the police and all those there were surprisingly good.
But wait a minute, but isn't that the same as the relations were really, really good during the Black Lives Matter marches? Because we have police officers sitting on getting down on their knees instead of policing and people who are actually breaking the law and putting other people at risk through the law.
But there was nothing sort of going on Saturday. There was a bit of traffic obstruction. It was clear quite quickly that you will get in any sort of event where you've got a float going around the music, that there really was an absence of hostility. That's not to say that in the future there's not going to be problems. This Saturday coming, there's a protest outside Tottenham Police Station. And of course, we're coming to the anniversary of Mark Duggan. Now, that's going to be interesting to see how that goes, whether this group, Forever Family, turns up, whether we get a march, a sort of a malicious type march. So there's another challenge for the police on Saturday. But I think the point to make really is that all this animosity that people talk about between the black community and the police, and the black community hate the police, there was almost, apart from the isolating, a complete absence of that on Saturday, which is good, which is positive, but certainly.
Yo, fam, like, this one was trying the hardest, to find something.
She really is, but I'm glad for this other guy, because like I said before, he brought the balance, he corrected her, and luckily, because you often get times when there's two of her, there's her talking to herself or someone that thinks just like her, that just paints the whole narrative. So luckily there's someone there that was able to say, no, actually that's not true, this is what it really was, and at the same time, somebody who's not biased on our side, because he at the beginning stated that he didn't agree with the reparations movement. You could tell from his energy that he wasn't feeling it, but he was still able to be balanced in his views about how he perceived or what his thoughts were on the actual day. So that was good. I thought that saved her show. But this woman herself, for people like her, the media need to rein them in. I'm sorry.
Yeah, like, I do recognize her face though, but I can't remember where she was on something else before. I've seen her. I'll probably seen her on Question Time or something. But yeah, man, that's their job, isn't it? Do you know what I'm saying? And like I said, they're not responding to anything other than they've seen some organization, because there's nothing that Forever Family did that you could say was in any way untoward, illegal, or disruptive, like to the public order on that day, innit? You know what I'm saying? Like nothing. So it's just formation and organization, and they're gonna get like that. That's all it is.
And the passion and the negativity that's coming from her, you would have thought they did do something like negative. It's like Colin Kaepernick all over again. He took a knee. They don't want you to riot. They don't want you to rush up things and protest and burn down things. They deal with you. You peacefully protest and you take a knee. They've got something negative to say. You organize a community and you keep order and you organize yourself and they have something to say. It's like, what's your problem? They just want you to go away basically, and it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen at all.
Yeah, like, you know, enough things about King will be back here. Okay.
Still think he's got a bit of a delay on his ends. You get me? But for me, I think even though there have been these negative media narratives, there has been a lot of people that were there know the realness, and luckily we no longer have to rely solely on, you know, media corporations to give us the story. We've got platforms like Got Kush, we've got social media, people that were there on the ground telling you what really went down. And so a lot of people that I've spoken to about it that are not even connected to me have got positive, you know, reviews on it, and I've heard positive things, and there are some media outlets as well that have been able to really give a honest reflection of the day and of Forever Family as well.
Yeah, you know.
So what do you think is next now? What do you think, you know, Operation COINTELPRO UK are going to try next? So the propaganda machine has already started. It's just the beginning. What can we foresee happening going forward if they are allowed to continue with this harmful rhetoric that is also inaccurate in many ways?
I feel like the story is always the same with them, and you can always expect them to do what they continue to do. It's more a matter of what are we gonna do. And I know that Forever Family, they hold training sessions where, you know, they're opening up to people of the public who want to come in and join, and they can learn some martial arts, learn some jiu-jitsu, things of that nature. So I think the more important thing is for us to reflect on, you know, what are we doing and how are we getting organized. Because otherwise, we know what how they're gonna play this chess game. You know, so I think it's down to us now and how we organize and how we support these kind of groups who are coming up.
Yeah, I just saying, yeah, Maya, the propaganda is out there. I think the next thing is that it's gonna be used as a justification for the remnants of the EDL and the Football Lads Alliance and all them groups there to come out, because they're gonna say, well, you know, this group is contributing to developing racial tensions, and they're gonna use it as an excuse to get more aggressive. That's what I think is gonna happen. And the police are gonna target Forever Family, but I think Forever Family is gonna do their work. I think the unison between the brothers and the sisters is a good one, and I think they're organized enough to withstand a lot of this this onslaught. You know what I'm saying? They've got some good advice. There's some good heads on shoulders there, and we got Kush TV. Like when it comes to media, we're gonna be out here putting out the realness. That the white guy on the radio was right. There was a Forever Family did go there to Tottenham the other day. And there was no real incident. Do you know what I'm saying? As far as I'm aware.
Yes, because they were there. That's the thing. So you were saying that the police are gonna use it as an excuse to target, and the EDL are gonna come out and do X, Y, Z. Like my opinion and my view, and which is the reason why Forever Family exists, is their presence is a deterrent, and it has been a deterrent. So when there was none of that, and they thought we were just doing regular black people coming to protest and complain and whatever, they came to attack us as we protested. They came as in groups to disrupt a peaceful protest. But now that Forever Family is there to protect and to safeguard protesters, we don't see them again. They don't come back again. So the police can't say that. If anything, the police are better off working with or allowing or supporting or giving Forever Family space to self-police the community so that stuff like that, the Battle of Trafalgar, doesn't happen again. Do you know what I mean? Because it was because of the lack of presence of an organization or presence of Forever Family, why that even happened in the first place. And I strongly feel that their presence has been a deterrent for future incidents that like what happened with the EDR the other day. So the police, if they were intelligent and they're using their intelligence, they would see that. They probably know this, because there's from what I know, they're the right wing who did come down initially with bad intent, were considering coming again, and they changed their minds. Even Tommy Robinson had said, you know what, not to forget it, don't bother, because of communications and talks and the presence and of Forever Family, and the fact that they know that it's not such an easy target to lynch and to mob and to attack Black people anymore. So I think that unless an agent like that lady is put in place where they can find a way to shut it down for causing disruption or violence or chaos, it's not going to be possible, because the Forever Family haven't done anything that's broken the law in any way. If anything, they've maintained civil obedience in many ways. So
and that's a great point, sis. But I just want to highlight what TWSZ13 Empress Returns said in the comments. She says, rioting in Chicago, and now they're talking about gun control laws. The government need a race war. They need protest. They need unrest. Do not put the majority of Blacks in this government-arranged madness. Now, I just want to highlight, of course, Forever Family, they're nothing to do with the government, right? This is definitely organized by our people. But I do agree with what the Empress is saying about how we shouldn't necessarily get involved in all of these riots. I've never been one to really support a lot of marches and riots and those kind of movements, because I think that's what we were doing back in the 60s, and we've tried it again and again. I think we need to try and mobilize in different ways. One way is economics, and just mobilizing in our community. So I think a demonstration like Forever Family did is a good thing, but I think it would be nice to now organize underground. I think that's very important. We done this demonstration, so we're showing them that we are organized and that we're not going to stand for racial injustice. But now it's time for us to really plan. So it's going to be interesting and exciting to see what actually opens up for our people, away from the cameras, because the media are always going to destroy it. So we can't keep giving them ammunition, can't keep giving them content for them to manipulate, because they're going to do it. The media is there, they control most of it, right? So as I said, it now reflects back to us to say, okay, what are we doing in the shadows? That's how we have to move. You know what I'm saying? In the shadows, in the darkness.
Here's an interesting image.
Look who's holding it up.
That's what I'm saying. That's what the media are all about.
And this is the thing as well I've noticed about the protest this year, even the reparations marches. There was a lot of diversity there, in support of the movement. There were a lot of, Europeans there, South Americans there, all in support, holding up banners, flyers, placards. It wasn't just Black people out there complaining, as a lot of these narratives are going around. There was a lot of solidarity for the cause, a lot of allies as well. But I do agree with what you're saying, Kevlar, about moving in the shadows. That's 100% correct. Even the fact that giving them ammunition is something that we need to, do less of as well. So I'm with you on that.
Someone said, why people are just there for the Insta photos?
I think I've got to delay the comments as well. What was that about Insta photos?
Sorry?
What was that about Insta photos?
No, Erasmus Freeman just commented, why people are just there for the Insta photos.
That's funny.
Yeah. I have no problem with them getting behind the movement. But the thing is, I only see it go as far as that, as far as the marches. They're not really supporting. They don't show true support. Reposting a picture on Instagram, I don't think that's support. Holding up a sign isn't support. I think there's more.
I hear you. Yeah. But But we can't say that for sure. We don't know, you know, what their involvement is, but it is a good point to make, you know, showing up for a protest, even whether you're black, white, green or blue, isn't enough to if you're going to be involved in change, for sure. King Wiz, you're back. Who is he? No, not quite. Yeah, so I feel like it's still quite fresh in the media's, you know, hands in terms of the talk around the reparations and Forever Family, and until the next thing happens. Even like the other day, there was another protest that they tried to cover. I feel like whenever there is a protest, they're never going to say, "Oh, it was wonderful." They want to discourage it, even if it was mainly positive. And it's up to us, you know, to continue to do what we're doing and stay focused on our objectives at the end of the day. Are there any more clips you want to share, Shax?
Yo, Shax, you're muted. Just unmute yourself.
Apologies, Kings. Unless the one where the newscaster guy was it's like 18 seconds. Like let's drop it anyway. Let's drop it. See what I've got. Hold on. There we go. Some radio stations just won't touch. So keep it locked and join us.
Hundreds gathered in Windrush Square in Brixton today for a reparations march marking African Emancipation Day. A number of protesters, including some from Extinction Rebellion, blocked the A23 before being pushed back by police.
No, it like that. Is that what happened?
So lazy.
Is that what happened though, bro?
I don't even know, man. I just think that whole. Sorry, go on, Shaq.
So the reality is that when it comes to the like the mainstream media, they've always been sketchy in terms of how they cover the reparations marches. Like they give it scant coverage, if any. Yeah. Whereas this year, you get me, it's getting the full scale. You know what I'm saying? So I just feel like
it's the tasting menu still, get the full banquet.
Yeah, so I just feel like there's a lot of stuff that we can do in terms of leveraging the profile, yeah, that the march is getting in terms of, because the reality is that most of our community is plugged in more to quote unquote mainstream media than we are our own black media, if that makes sense. So we've got to find a way to leverage the access to mainstream media towards spreading the awareness of what you know, this thing is about. Because for me personally, I feel like just having a knowledge of the reparations movement and the cases for reparations and them kind of things there is a good thing, whether one fully agrees with it or not. This what I'm saying. Whether one fully agrees with marching or not, I think it's a good thing for our community to be in tune with the issue of reparations and the movement behind reparations, the legal strategies and the other forms of strategies that are around it. Just what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I'm pretty sure like there's a lot of people in the community that think like Julia, who are not well informed and will now have opportunity to find out what the basis of the argument is for reparations and why it's relevant today. So yeah.
We're over an hour yet. Are there any other topics, Yamaya?
No, I mean we're gonna round it up soon, but I just wanted to say like I watched Black is King by Beyonce. I don't know if you lot are gonna behead me out there, but I love it. I think it's a masterpiece. I think like only MJ could have topped it. Like it was so good. So I just want to end the live on a positive note. Like Black is King out here still. It's just amazing. So if you ain't watched it, go watch it. So much. I feel like it needs a breakdown by Andre Muhammad or something. It's got so much symbology in there, so much messages in there. I mean, I don't understand how people will criticize it, because what Beyonce is essentially saying in it is what we are all saying, you know, that we should be proud of where we come from. You know, there's more to our history than than X, Y, and Z, and we should remember who we are, and we've got beautiful traditions and languages and cultures that we should be learning about and should be embracing, and should come back to. That's essentially what Got Kush TV stands for. It's essentially what a lot of the country's community stands for, and that's essentially what the whole of Black is King is about. So, and so she's just bringing the visuals, and the production is good. There's some tunes in there. It was just vibes. It was vibes. That's all I want to say.
You're muted. You're muted.
I watched a bit of it. I watched the song that she has with Kendrick that's on the project, and Kendrick had an interesting line where he said something like, he's feeling like he's in 4D, and he's feeling like there's 4. He said, "I'm feeling like 4D. I'm feeling like there's 4 of me." And I just saw Natural Mystic's comment where she says it's a spiritual war being played out as a race war. Time for us to know self, and understand that it's divide and rule. That's the only plan. So I just say that to say that even with Beyonce's whole video, she's trying to show us that essentially we are a spiritual people. We're not going to defeat this with weapons, right? We're only going to defeat this with spiritual technology, with people tapping into themselves, right? It takes me back to I'm super into hip hop. There's a line by Cannabis in a song called "Only Slaves Dream," where he says, "You need to come up with a better plan because the devil smashed metal weapons like glass. Right now, we're outmatched and outclassed. We have to stay on a spiritual path." So I quote that just to say that, our spirituality is our strongest weapon, right? Because when we tap into our spirituality, we're actually tapping into the quantum field. We're all connecting. We're all unifying on a deeper level than they can even recognize or even track down with their machinery, right? And all their devices. So we have to connect on that level. Otherwise, we're kind of regressing by doing the marching thing again. So I have no problem with that. But just because you brought up Beyonce's Black is King, I just have to remind the people what the messages that she was trying to bring out in that. We are a spiritual people. We need to reconnect on that level. Same way, still, it was interesting going on YouTube. There's a lot of Christians getting mad at the symbology. I found that funny.
Of course they are. Of course they are.
Getting mad at the symbology, but it was funny to me.
TWSZ13 Empress Return says most of us have never needed Beyonce to tell us that, but there's still way too many of us that do and do not know that. And I feel like there's nothing wrong with us being reminded of it and celebrating it and honoring it every day.
I mean,
why not?
Black people are always quick to tear down another black person. I'm not gonna say that I'm like that I F with those elites and those black people in their spheres. Like, really, I couldn't care less what they're doing. But when they do put a message out like that, I give them kudos. I give them their respect for it because it is something that's needed in this time. So if Beyonce is coming out with something like that, I'm not gonna bash it because at the same time you have someone like Cardi B coming out with WAP.
Right. And they ain't been chatting nothing on that. They ain't got nothing to say about that.
I don't want to give Cardi B much space on this platform because she don't really deserve it. At the end of the day, I saw that my cousin, who's like 13 years old, follows her, and she liked one of the little videos on the Instagram. And man, that hit my heart because it's like, man, the fact that 13-year-olds are looking up to this kind of thing and looking up to this kind of celebrity, it's terrible. So the fact that Beyonce is doing something like that has a lot of imagery with our, African deities and things of that nature, I have to, we say respect for that because it's putting out some imagery that's really important during this time.
At the end of the day, like, you got Europeans putting out their Thors and their Marvel characters and they're all these movies glorifying their history and their gods and their traditions and their religions. And it's not like, why they keep banging on about it. They just want to talk about it. They're celebrating it. Why shouldn't you celebrate yourself every day? I wake up every day and brush my teeth. Yeah, no one needs to tell me to brush my teeth. I do it every day because it needs to be done. We need to be celebrated and reminded that we are great every day, and we need to tell everybody else too. Simple.
All right, Emina, I have not watched it yet, so I don't have a comment on it itself, although I'm sure that it's going to be artistically excellent, you know what I'm saying, in terms of the formation and them kind of things there. Sorry, that wasn't a pun. I was actually going to go on to say that I did do a breakdown of her previous visual album, which is the formation.
Oh, Lemonade.
Yeah, so I did a
Formation.
two-part breakdown of that one. I probably won't do a breakdown of this one. I'll probably just leave it to Andrew Mohammed. But yeah, there will be things to break down on both levels. I'm not one of those people that I'm not I give credit where it's due, but I'm also not one of them people that is afraid to be critical where I need to be either, if that makes sense. Just what I'm saying. 100. So like, be critical about something.
We got to remember, Beyonce is an artist. She's not a political activist. She's not a politician. Right. She's an artist, and as an artist, she did the things with Black is King, like the singing, the dancing, the visuals.
I have no doubt that again, there's going to be a lot of artistic value in what she's delivered. I think though, even having not seen it, there are already things to celebrate and to critique. Yeah. So for example, like as an artist who is concerned about legacy. And institution building, the fact that the two biggest products, that we have in terms of representing our glory as African people in the last couple of years, have come through the vehicle of Disney. I think there's something to look at there, right? This is what I'm saying. Where that is concerned and what that means, there's something there that we have to be concerned about, right? That's not shot at the brothers and sisters in Black Panther or Beyonce or you know what I'm saying or anything like that. It's just as a people we have to think about what it means that in order to celebrate ourselves we require the agency of a company like Disney, a company which is yet to reconcile with its own racist history. Just what I'm saying, like if you study the history of Disney, there's a lot of stuff there, right? That's what I'm saying. So we have to bear that in mind. And also in terms of, because we're going to be empowered by the images that we see, but then to what extent does that empowerment translate into how we're organizing among ourselves in our community, if that makes sense? This what I'm saying. I think that's a broader question for us as a people. Because if we're going to glorify in our ancient past, well, what are we building for our ancient future? This what I'm saying. Like that's the question. That we so for me that those questions are answered when you're an artist that's your organic expression, that's your organic inclination, if that makes sense. Like nowadays it's the way to be all pro-Black and proud to be African and them kind of things there. But a lot of those artists that were on that thing from before don't have Beyonce resources. What's it called? And so they're not going to be able to produce on that level yet, if that makes sense. So I see it as an artist, I see it as a challenge because now it calls upon me to be more creative because I can't just like it's not going to be novelty anymore to just celebrate African glory in a highly artistic way because a lot of the artists are doing it right now. But that was my inclination from before anyway. So I've got to find a more creative way it's a challenge for all artists out there. If this was already your inclination and now Beyonce has stepped right into your lane and taken it to the next level, and you feel like, because I'm sure I'm going to watch it and I know that every artist is going to watch it and say, do you know what? Like, I was going to do that. I wanted to do that. I know it's gonna happen. I know for a fact it's gonna. When I watch it, I'm gonna say the same thing. I'm gonna be like, you know what? I had this idea. It's exactly what I wanted to do. But I don't have Beyonce P. I ain't got to deal with Disney and Columbia Records. I don't have them kind of resources, and I don't want them. I don't want no deals with Disney or Columbia Records. But it does. But it's, instead of seeing it as a detriment to your creativity, see it as a challenge to your creativity. What can I produce? That I'm not gonna have that budget, but what can I produce that's within my own lane that I've already been in that still makes it novelty, that still makes it unique, that still makes it one of a kind, and it's still effective in terms of bringing out a message. And so I just wanted to say that to all the artists. I know a lot of artists are gonna be out there thinking, fam, like these pop artists are stepping into my team. What am I gonna do? I wouldn't say that.
Do you think it's a case of like Beyonce is popularizing or commercializing being woke or being conscious or being knowledgeable of one's history, or do you think she's just another artist that is just using her platform to put forward that positive narrative? What would you say?
I think it's a bit of both. I think I don't divorce any African from the right to project pride in who they are, in their heritage, in their history, their culture, their spirituality. We're great people, and so all of us have a right to access that and project it. Yeah, and I think there is some genuine development in that regard for a lot of the artists. Then I think there is also some. It's the wave right now. Let me capitalize on the wave. Yeah, I think there's a bit of both going on. You see what I'm saying? Like, it wasn't sexy 10 years ago to wear African garms in a music video. Yeah, and Oshun and Ogun and Offset. Yeah,
she had all the flipping illusions up in there, boy. I feel like because Afrobeats is so hot right now, it's like, of course, is going to do Afrobeats music now because Afrobeats is the lick right now. So it makes sense.
Where are you seeing in Afrobeats people pouring libation and doing divinations? You know what I'm saying? It's very rare. I'm not saying that doesn't happen at all, but it's not the wave, in it, right? And then, but then these things have been that the idea that we need to seek pride and dignity in those things, like, you know, in the community that we operate in right now, the community, these things have been rated for. You see what I'm saying? Sorry, did I cut up there?
You can't.
Yeah, say that again.
Sorry, I was saying, like, in black organizations and the black conscious community, these things have been celebrated for time. They're not new. You see what I'm saying? So yeah, I think there's a bit of both going on, and I just think that as if that's what you're on already, then you have to find a way of feeding into that energy. Don't just complain. You see what I'm saying? Like, you have to find a way of magnifying that energy in a more purposeful way, because the reality is, this, in the pop world, this trend will pass. Yeah, this trend will pass. Yeah, because that's the nature of the pop world. But if this is your actual genuine spirit and inclination, then you have to find a way of magnifying or making best use of this moment now for the sincerity of what you stand for and what you're projecting on a daily basis. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, there's going to be some capitalism involved in this thing and people taking advantage for capitalist ends. Yeah, but when we got to make sure that we're positioned enough to, you know what I'm saying? Get me? So yeah, that's it really.
Everything says Afrobeats is pulling a reggaeton on reggae. Listen,
everything says that I want to respond to. Yeah, says we don't owe continental African any explanation how we explain our journey. They forget about us, so shut up. Got Ghana. And he says to see a bunch of continental Africans BITCHing about Black is King with their Christian and Muslim self is just a bit rich, yeah? And I get where the brother is coming from. I do want to make the point, though, that I have seen some of what he's talking about. For the most part, though, I don't see our brothers and sisters on the continent complaining about Black is King. I think, generally speaking, I'm under that.
I haven't heard the opinions, but I have heard that a couple of people who are from the continent don't like it, but I'm not sure how widespread that is.
I've heard that too. What I'm saying is, I don't think that's the majority point of view. And I think a lot of that is not necessarily inspired by I'm a continental African, but like you were saying before about the Christian vibration. Yeah, a lot of people don't want to see. You know, they're not interested in Olodumare and Ogun and Yemosha and Shango. You know what I mean? So they see that as Jesus. But there's a sister by the name of Mo Chunks. She runs a channel called Mo Chunks TV. I was watching her breakdown the other day. She's a Christian and she doesn't believe in African spirituality, but she did a very respectful appraisal of, like, addressing the issue of African spirituality as it was depicted in Black is King, and it was at least very respectful. So I just want to say there is that dynamic out there. There are 1-2 Africans from the continent who are challenging certain things. Yeah. But I think for the most part, that, like, those that are coming from the wrong place are a very small minority. So I also want to be careful not to magnify the strippiness, like, and make it black. Just what I'm saying. You know what I mean? Like, we don't want to cause no more division between us and our brothers and sisters on the continent.
And I feel like a project like Black is King is something that's trying to bridge the gap, because it's like, Black is King, we're all black, black is what unifies us, and Africa is the heart of blackness. You know what I mean? So it's like, I feel like if anything, it should be more unified than divisive, because she touched, not only she touched on different countries and continents and cultures in Africa in the different music genres she used throughout the visual album, she also showed different types of blackness, and I just thought that was very interesting and very artistic as well. I'm a music head. I love music. I love art. So when I saw, and I love poetry, so when I saw all of those things tied together, it kind of got me a bit emotional still. And obviously I love African spirituality as well. I love learning about it. I love seeing all the colours represented, the orishas, and how they were depicted in story form. We don't see enough of it. And we're always saying we want to see more of our stories told. You know what I mean? And it's happening. So I'm here for it. It's being told, and it's being put out there, just like, you know, we've got Greek mythology is out there, and, you know, put into movies, and it's just standard procedure, and Disney's doing that left, right, and centre. For we thing need to be put out there too, and for the kids to see and look at it, I think, and be proud of it. I think it's good and it's positive and it's beautiful too. So that's my view on it, you know. I know if Sister Lady was here, she would have something to say, because, you know, she's very passionate about anything Beyonce does, and she wouldn't be here. Yeah, big up Naledi. She couldn't be with us today, but it would have been interesting to hear her view, because she would be completely in contrast to what I would be saying with regards to Beyonce and whatever Beyonce does, you know. So unfortunately, my sister ain't here today, but hopefully she can jump in the comments and share her views on, you know, Beyonce's artwork.
I want to hear her view as well on what's going on in Zimbabwe right now with the white farmer organization.
Listen, that went so quietly under the radar. The Cipher family, if you're not aware, the white farmers in Zimbabwe are being compensated. And I'm just like, when did that even go through legislation? Like, when did that become a thing? Like, how?
It's been mad. But yeah, I think I'll have to get you on another episode still. We'll catch that.
All right, family.
So
we're going to wrap it up for this evening, or we're going to spend a few more minutes? What you saying, family?
I think that was a great discussion that we had. Yeah, up to you how you want to do it.
Yeah. I agree. Okay, so we'll wrap it up here. You know, episode 3 of the Cipher is coming out at the end of the month, so tune in for that. Keep commenting, keep interacting with us. You know, the Cipher isn't completely about you, the audience. You know, commenting and leaving all your love or hate or agreements or disagreements in the comments. We're all here for it. We love it. We love it. We love it. Keep it coming. You know, you ain't got nothing if you ain't got kush. Until next time on the Cipher, we'll see you soon.
Also, brothers and sisters, the Kibble Academy of Excellence is still going strong.